To anyone who might be here already, hello. I'm gonna leave us on the screen with no sound for just a few minutes. I have to take care of something really quick, but I will be back in just a few. All right. Hi, everybody. Sorry for the delay. Um, the merchandise pre-release for pickup in Arlington, Texas, which is where my next concert is, started at noon today. We would talk about crazy timing. Literally any other day of the week, I wouldn't have had anything to do at 12 noon. But since today was the live stream, I was like, let me just jump on real quick and see if I can get anything. So just wanted to take a quick minute to do that. But I'm all good now. So hello to anybody who is here. I hope you've been having a good day, good couple of weeks so far. How have you all been? And I'm very excited for those of you who have been concerting. I'm excited to hear about your concert experiences. But in general, I'm just excited to see all of you today. Hello, AK. It's good to see you. I'm glad you could be here. Hope you've been doing well. Hi, Lindsay. Welcome. Koya's Multiverse. Hi, welcome. I'm glad you've been enjoying the summer so far. Uh, where are you located? I know a lot of the world is actually having like a crazy heat wave right now. I know it's been really bad in Europe. I live in Florida, so every day the real feel has been like 108 degrees, and I'm just like, I don't need to go outside. Thank you very much. Yeah, AK, I can imagine it's pretty hot out in Vegas. I always tend to see like the states like, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, some of those areas always tend to be up in the hundreds before like the rest of us do, and it's like, ugh, I do not a fun time. Lindsay, I bet from everything I've seen, I can imagine. You are so right. Azarella, we do need to like we need a poet to write ode to air conditioning. We like that's just where I want to be. I want to be inside with the AC. I don't need to go out when it's 110. And I live very near all the theme parks here in Florida, and I always, the people who are out in like the middle of the day, when it's 110, I'm just like, why do you hurt yourself like this? Alrighty, since you all were so patient while I was messing around with merch, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the housekeeping. We have nothing, too concrete planned today. It's just a fun chatting stream, so nothing we really have to get to in a rush. But we'll change it up. I'll give you guys a nice new screen to look at instead. So just to get my housekeeping out of the way, we have obviously been talking in previous live streams about like upcoming book club and things like that, but I don't have any concrete dates for you on anything yet. Mostly that's just, thanks to my work schedule and things like that. Plus, I do know that I will probably be having my post concert live stream between now and then. I figure book club probably won't be until September. I'm heading, like I said, to the Arlington concert in Arlington, Texas, on the 16th of August, and then I'll probably do like a little, concert recap afterwards. So that will probably be the next live stream, and I'll give you a date when I have it. And then book club will probably be in September. But our next book club read will be Map the Soul 7, Persona, Shadow, and Ego in the World of BTS by Murray Stein. So wanted to let you guys know that in advance, so you have time to read that book ahead of whenever we do book club in September. So that's pretty much all of the news and updates I have for now. So just keep an eye on like the community section of my channel, and I'll let you guys know more concrete dates for everything as I get them. Hi, Metaloop. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. All right. So, like I said, nothing too crazy today. No official, theme or anything. We're just gonna have a nice chat. So, I have two chatting screens for us here today. The first one's just gonna be a generic chatting screen, and the second screen is going to be for if we're talking about their tour. I know a lot of my regular viewers had their concerts over the past couple of weeks and months. So if you guys have any fun stories you want to share, I'll plop us here on this tour screen. That way, anybody who doesn't want to hear like tour spoilers or anything like that, you can kind of, turn down the sound or mute until you see that the army bomb is no longer on the screen. I don't know how many of you here today are, ones who have seen the concerts. But just in case, I wanted to give us the ability to have that chat. But we can also chat about anything BTS related, like we do anytime we have a fun casual chatting stream. Additionally, I don't know if any of you are on Discord. We've been having some conversations over on Discord. We've been sharing some stuff related to the tour over there. So any of you, who wanted to continue those discussions, let me know. So yeah, usually just the normal casual chat that we have. And I'm also not sure if any of you have concerts coming up. Like I said, I my first concert was in Tampa, Florida back in April, and then I have the one in Texas coming up. So if any of you have any upcoming tours too, I'd love to hear about that. I'm glad you're here. I'm very excited. It's always great to have people who haven't been able to catch a live stream yet. So it's fun to have you guys here. We have such a cool community, and all of these lives go up on the channel afterwards. So anybody who comes in a little bit later has to leave early. You can always catch up on what you missed. So I hope you'll check it out. AK, that's awesome. I was thinking about you around that time. I hope you had a really good time there. Was it, I forget, was it the same venue that they did when they did PTD on stage? Was it the same venue? Oh, that's so exciting, Azarella. I went to Tampa just the one day because then I ended up getting the tickets for Arlington. Um, so I was only at Tampa the first day. But that was still really, really exciting and a lot of fun. So Metaloop's asking what are our thoughts on the normal music video? Yeah, so the normal music video just came out like 2 days ago. Um, Personally, for me, I'm not a fan of the visual style that they used for normal. Like, I just don't really like, when I'm very much a linear person when it comes to the storytelling of the music videos. And I mean, obviously I'm the Army Theorist Corner, so I love if you throw a bunch of symbols at me that I can then interpret. But I don't like when it's like too much stuff happening at once. That's just like I was never a fan of music videos before I became an Army. So like, the way music videos usually tend to be of just like things are happening and maybe they kind of have a loose connected theme. I never really liked that. So personally not really my style, but it's been so interesting to see people talking about their theories and like all of the different symbols, all of the different references to older music videos. That's been really, really interesting. Hello, it's good to see you. Madrid and London. That is so great. I always love seeing people say that like the concerts were like their big happy moment, because I just feel like when you go to a BTS concert you like really do transcend. I mentioned this in my liminal space video where I talked about like liminality and how there are like liminal experiences that you can have where you sort of like transcend your normal life. And like that is just that's a BTS concert, you know. That is the definition of a BTS concert as far as I'm concerned. I hope you all were able to have like some fairly like non-chaotic experiences with your venues. I feel like so often at the big stadiums, it can be such an issue getting in, it can be such an issue getting out, you know, transportation can be so hard. So I hope you guys were all like able to have like an okay decent experience at your venues. Meta loop. Oh yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of interesting symbolism in the video. I mean, I can still see the symbolism even if I don't really like the visual style. And I mean, you guys who are my regular viewers, you know I'm not a fan of Ararang. So it's like there's definitely I'm not like coming into any of their I mean, I some of the videos I've really enjoyed. I think 2.0 is a lot of fun. I like the video for that a lot. And I actually really enjoyed Merry Go Round. We had a great discussion about the Merry Go Round video. And I think they that was great. So it's like it's not like a blanket thing of you know just because I don't enjoy Ararang, I don't like see the symbols or anything. Just stylistically, some of the choices in the normal video, I'm not a huge fan of those, but it's been I've really seen a lot of interesting analysis too about kind of portraying, and this is a theme that BTS has talked about so often in like their previous like whenever they've done documentaries and like previous commentary on things like that. um they've talked a lot about the feeling of being on stage performing, you know, doing all that and then leaving, you know, and how it feels to leave, you know, a stage and then kind of have to come down off of that high of performing, you know, all by themselves, and how strange that is. One of my favorite instances of them including that question and that dynamic in their music is actually off of D2, Yoongi's album D2, in the song Hansul, where he kind of talks about how it feels to be, you know, alone after like a concert or performance and just like what a come down that feels like. So I think they did a really interesting job in Normal of kind of showing, you know, having like that celebration and like, you know, the wild energy of a concert and then coming back down to reality, you know, and in that sense kind of the imagery I think really conveys that super well. And so I think that's really interesting, an interesting choice for that. And I'm curious, like I said, I know we have some discussions on Discord and things like that, but I'm curious what all of you thought if you saw the video, what you thought of it. I'm also glad that they released it regularly because I know with Merry-Go-Round being on Spotify, like I do not like Spotify. It's I just find it like a really weird to navigate platform, and so like the Merry-Go-Round music video being like on Spotify exclusively was really annoying. I'm like, I don't want to have to use Spotify. Just give me YouTube. Like I have YouTube Premium. I don't have ads. Let me just enjoy things on YouTube without having to go through Spotify. Hello, BTS Purple World. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you're having a good day. Lindsay, yeah, there's a lot going on in the music video. Lots of symbolism, a lot of references, like just shot for shot references to older videos, which is really cool. I've seen a couple of really interesting compilations of people pointing out ones that like I might not have even like picked up on, but once somebody goes, "Hey," you know, like for instance, the one shot of Yoongi at the fence. A lot of people have pointed out that it looks like the scene in Fire, in the music video for Fire, where he's at the fence. I thought that was really cool. Hi, Kia. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Oh yes, the upcoming FIFA performance. Yeah, I'm actually I was worried because I know it's supposed to be today. I know that there's been some concerns about like the ongoing weather issues and things like that. So I know it's supposed to be today, and I was worried that I would be overlapping with it. So I think it's a little bit later. I know nothing about soccer, so I I have to keep like continually being reminded that it's today because I have not been following the World Cup. I am so sorry. But yes, I'm very excited to see what they do. I have a feeling that they're probably going to do body to body. I'm curious what you guys think, if you think you have any other ideas about like what their performance will be like. Yeah, AK, that's what I love about like army theorizing as like, a group joint effort, because there is so much that, can like just different things jump out to different people. So I think that's really cool to to be able to kind of do that as a community. Oh, okay. Do we have a confirm that they're going to do permission to dance? Okay, interesting. I think that'll be fun. Ooh, each performer gets a minute 45. Wow. Permission to dance. Cool. Um Interesting. Then there's been leaked footage. It's such a shame that it's only going to be a minute 44, because I mean, they should be able to jump into permission to dance pretty quick. Oh, because of the clues on Twitter. Okay, interesting. Well, I guess we'll find out this afternoon, huh? Or evening. I don't know. I guess the game starts in the afternoon. And like I said, I know nothing about soccer. I'm so not a sports person, so I never quite understand, like, I don't even really know much about like American football, so I definitely don't know anything about regular football. Metaloop was asking, have I been following the concert stops in Europe? Yeah, I've been checking out a lot of like the photos and videos. Although I do admit I didn't get a chance to see what their surprise songs were in Paris. I just didn't see anybody mention that on the channels, online that I was looking at. But I did see that Munich got louder than bombs, which was like, oh my gosh, my heart. Yeah, AK. That's a heck of a turnaround to do the two concerts and then also do the performance here. That's a lot. Oh, Azarella, yeah, you definitely I will be wishing you luck today. Okay, so they got We Are Bulletproof the Eternal and So What for Paris? Oh man, I'm so jealous. Yes, Metaloop, I did see. I did see JK getting emotional. Yeah, that was it was interesting to see him getting so emotional. I know it's been a long time since they've been able to perform in Europe, so I wonder if he was just kind of feeling of like the impact of being back there after so long and then having to leave again, or just really feeling the emotions of the concert, especially with now that I see We Are Bulletproof the Eternal was in the mix, because trust me, I know what it's like to be bawling your eyes out during We Are Bulletproof the Eternal. Hmm, interesting. Footage leaked from FIFA made it look like they were doing Dynamite. Interesting. I could see that because obviously Dynamite is like so well known of a song. So I could see them sort of jumping in, with a more well known song like Dynamite. Also, to anybody that I haven't said hi to yet, hello, welcome. I'm so glad you could be here with us today. Thanks for stopping by. If you want to say where you're listening from, we're a really super diverse community. We have people all over the globe. So if you want to say where you're listening from, please feel free. What are my wish list songs for Arlington? That is a great question. My favorite BTS song of all time is "On," and I think El Paso. I think it was like literally the stop right after Tampa when they did "On," and I just was like, I had to lay on the floor for a minute. I was just like, I want "On." I mean, obviously, I love the surprise song concept, so like, I love any surprise song that they do. It's just so much fun. Um, the unexpected nature of it is just a blast. So like any song is fine by me, but I would really love On. I think that would just make my day. Oh yeah, fan since 2018. Yeah, definitely watching We Are Bulletproof, The Eternal, The Tears. I get it. Pakistan, India. That's exciting. That's awesome. Korea. That's great. Welcome everybody. Metaloop. Yeah, that's a really interesting question about the European leg of the tour and seeing like the standing audience. I thought that when I think it was Brussels. I think one of the stops, it looked like they were really close to the stage, almost like mosh pit style, and I know obviously like the floor seats, which is, I'll be there in Arlington, you have chairs, but you're still obviously kind of standing for most of the concert. But in some of the European stops, it looked like it was just like you're just standing there, like no seats. It was nice too to see in some of those concerts it looked like, because I know that the boys have said in the past that they definitely want to like make eye contact with people and things like that. So it looked like a lot of people were making eye contact with them. Yeah, AK, they definitely looked like they were like embracing the chaos and the vibes in throughout the European stops. There always seemed to be like a new crazy silly viral clip that was, coming out of those tours. So it looks like they were having a great time. And like I said earlier too, with not having been able to, go to Europe between like the pandemic and military service, it's been so long since they've been able to have, a full OT7 concert in anywhere in Europe. So, I can definitely see that they were probably having a blast. Yeah, Metaloop. I'm small. Like I'm like 5 feet tall, and like I think I would probably get trampled if I was in like a mosh pit setting like that. I'm just like, ugh, yeah. I don't think that would be. I don't think that would be good for me. But yeah, it looked like it was such a lively festival atmosphere, which I know the boys always love and cherish. So I'm really glad, and I what I didn't see a lot of, I tended to see a lot of footage, like obviously of in the concerts, but I didn't really get to see a lot of stuff outside of the concerts, like, so that was something that I was seeing a lot over here in the like the North American leg of the tour was not only was I seeing like the inside stadium footage, but I was seeing a lot of outside stadium stuff and a lot of the stuff in the local area. I didn't see a lot of that for Europe, but I'm curious for any of you who maybe saw or anything like that. If if you had any like stories about that either firsthand or that you saw of how like the outside area was or the local communities. That's always a really interesting part of BTS tours for me. I always just find that stuff really fascinating. Oh, and for any of you who are a little bit newer to the stream or to the channel, let me also quick introduce myself. My name is Rachel. I'm from the United States. I live in Florida. And I've been an Army since early 2020. I became Army right before Map of the Soul 7 came out. And so became Army really quickly and, just loved theorizing about their music videos and their songs and everything. So it took me a couple years to be able to make a YouTube channel, but that's why I made a channel, dedicated to theorizing about their videos and stuff. So yeah, so welcome to my channel. And I'm obviously a very small channel. I put out videos kind of sporadically, but I'm thrilled that you're here. I hope you enjoy the community and all of that. 2019. Oh, awesome. Yeah, I had started to learn about them by the end of 2019. Like I definitely knew of them, but I didn't start really diving into their stuff until early 2020. And then, between like that, like learning about them right before the pandemic and then the pandemic giving me all of like the free time to really kind of dive into them, then I became Army super hardcore. Yeah, it's interesting because BTS are they're the only K-pop group that I listen to. Like they're the only Korean music. I have like a lot of other Korean media like K-dramas and stuff that I watch, but in terms of music, they're my only Korean music. So I don't really have a lot of comparison personally to like other idols or groups or anything like that. So to me it's only ever just BTS. Lindsay's asking the Weaver's tour report article. No, I actually didn't get a chance to read that yet. I did see it come out though, but I didn't get a chance to look it over. So I'm curious what information was in there. Azarella, yeah. For me, it's just like with BTS kind of their message spoke to me, their ideas spoke to me. So I kind of found everything I was looking for in them. And they have such a wide, breadth of work, going back all the way to 2013, so many albums and songs and videos that it was just like I didn't personally feel like I really needed to seek anything else out because like they felt safe to me, so it's just like that's where I wanted to be and I had so much content. So, and I mean, I've been Army for over 6 years and there's still so much stuff that I haven't seen, early videos and lives and things like that. There's still so much. So right, we just know BTS. Oh, we are watching that idol performance. That's a good one. Also, hello, Raja. Thank you for joining us. Hope you've been having a good day so far. And talking of the normal music video, yeah, we were talking a little bit about that earlier in the stream, just kind of talking about some of the theories, some of the overlap with older videos, a lot of really interesting references and symbols. I love hearing people's like BTS and army origin stories. It's just so interesting because there's so much, so many things that draw people in, so many things that speak to people about BTS. So it's always so interesting. Yeah, it seemed like there was a lot of emotion for the second day, for the last day in Paris. Which, like I said, I'm sure probably was, the feeling of leaving Europe. And I know they have a little bit of a break, but, kind of to reset from Europe before they go back to the next leg of North America. So I'm sure there's a lot of, feeling involved in that too. Yeah, so we're casually chatting today, so let me know what you all want to talk about. Especially for those of you who are a little bit newer to the channel, you maybe haven't, you know, like known my opinions about other things. If you're interested in anything that I have to say, let me know. Yeah, the it's so good to see, like you said, like record breaking attendance for a lot of these things, and it's so good to see all the hype and things like that. I'm sure that they felt a little bit of concern, that like their military hiatus and things would lead to some struggles with trying to get back, and you know I know they were always kind of worried that we wouldn't wait for them, so I'm sure it does them a lot of good to see it. So Metaloop's asking about the opinion of them wanting to be more mature. Um, I personally have never enjoyed that term. You probably know that from the Rang discussion that we had when the album came out. Because I just feel like mature is one of those words that has a lot of different meanings, and I don't think just saying more mature actually means anything. And so it's like I really wish that there was like a better word or a better definition than that, because I personally always think that BTS has made music that is very mature in the sense of being like emotionally intelligent. And it's kind of funny that our next book club book is going to be the book by Murray Stein, because he actually talks about that, spoilers. He actually talks a lot about that in relation to specifically Map of the Soul 7, where he says that there's a lot in Map of the Soul 7 that is really emotionally mature because it has the ability to look beyond just BTS's own self and look at like the world at large. And like actually one of the songs that he uses as an example is Louder Than Bombs. And he talks about how because Louder Than Bombs is a song about recognizing the pain in others, that is very emotionally mature, that not everybody has the ability to look beyond like their own experiences, but that in BTS's music they do that quite frequently. So I personally have always thought that BTS's music has been very mature in that sense, but I know a lot of other people, they think of maturity in a different way. So it's a little bit of a complicated topic. Yeah, Lindsay, like if mature, and like if they want to say more free, more uninhibited, like that's an interesting conversation to be like, what about that? Oh, AK, that is so exciting. I would love to hear how that went, how that experience was for your concert. Veman Cook, do I always come live at this same time? Not my live schedule is a little bit weird. So I usually tend to always try and do live streams on Sundays, but I don't do them every Sunday. So my job is very unpredictable in terms of when I'm scheduled. Like, usually I don't work Sundays, which is why I do them on Sundays, but lately I have been working on Sundays. So that's part of why I don't have upcoming live stream dates for you guys yet, because work is a little bit unpredictable right now. I usually do try and give people a little bit of advance notice, usually in like the posts section of my channel. I try and kind of give y'all a heads up about what's going on when. So, yeah, so usually 12 noon my time, Eastern Standard Time on a Sunday is usually when I stream, but the dates are usually kind of, up for debate. Usually the dates are kind of changing and fluid. And I do a lot of different lives here. I do a lot of chatting lives like this, but I also like to do a lot of theme lives. If you look back through my channel, I do book club. We just kind of started that recently, where we just kind of discuss a book related to BTS. Like something that influenced their work. I do like album discussions. I do theme discussions, stuff like that. Yeah, we're a really great community for talking about BTS. Everybody here is awesome. Like, all of my regular people, who show up, very consistently in the live streams are great. Like I said, we're a super diverse community. And I love the community atmosphere that we always have in these lives. It's a lot of fun. And every live stream that goes up on the channel afterwards has the live chat attached to it. So usually when they go up, it takes maybe like a couple hours for the live chat to actually show up. But if you go back and you look at previous ones, you can also see the live chat. You can see the discussion that we were having in real time. So that's really fun too. Yeah, so Azarella, it's not really like an official book club. Like, I don't have like, something on Goodreads or anything like that, the way like a real life book club might. But more than anything, it's just kind of we have discussions together. So like I was saying earlier, I don't know if you were here yet, but I figured the next book club discussion is probably going to be in September. So I hope you'll show up for that live stream. We have a lot of fun. Also, hello, Javine. It's great to see you. I would love to hear about your tour experience if you feel like sharing, but otherwise, I'm just glad you're here. I've been great. Thank you for asking. I hope you have been too. Oh, AK, that's awesome. I'm so glad that you were able to like see them really clearly. A lot of screaming and screeching. I can imagine. I have concert earplugs for just that reason. Oh, that's so fun, Kia. That's great. Yeah, it's really exciting to be with armies in real life. Obviously, like the internet connections that we have are great. But and we have a great community, like I said, but it's so different when you get to actually see people in person is a lot of fun. Yeah, Javine, I've been thinking about you because I know you had a couple of concerts in a kind of like in a short period of time. So, but yeah, no, that's part of why I wanted to do a casual chatting stream today. I figured we could just talk about general stuff, but I'd also love to hear about your tour experiences for those of you who got to see the concert. So that's why we're here. And hello to anybody else who just joined us recently. It's great to see you. Thank you for being here. If you don't know me, if you're not familiar with the channel, my name is Rachel, and I've been Army since like early 2020. So very glad to see you all here. To answer the question of like who is my bias, my bias is Jin, with kind of like I kind of have almost like a joint bias between Jin and Namjoon. But OT7, everybody's bias wrecker. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hit my microphone there. I apologize for any random background noise that you hear. A lot of times, I'm a hand talker. I gesture with my hands when I talk. So a lot of times I end up hitting things while we have conversations. So if you hear any thumps, it's me hitting things as usual. Lindsay, yeah, I love that description about like how normal they are paired with that larger than life aura. I really always have gotten that same sense whenever I've seen them previously. My regular viewers know that I've seen them at PTDLA, and then I saw Jin's concerts in Dallas, and then I saw them for Arang in Tampa. And it is always so something that has always struck me is it's crazy to be there. Like you just feel like it's such a wild experience, but at the same time it also just feels so natural. You're like, of course I'm seeing BTS in person because I'm an army. It's where I belong. Like it has like that interesting feeling of kind of being, it just feels inevitable. Hi, Don't Feed the Bears. It's great to see you. No apologies whatsoever. We're just having a casual chat, so you didn't really miss much, but that sounds lovely. I hope you've been having a nice day, and I hope your week has been going well. Yeah, here in my part of the United States, it's just kind of the afternoon just started. It's like 12:45 in the afternoon here my time. I always love something I love about having people from all around the world is it's so interesting to see like the time differences, and everybody's different times. And I always am so flattered if you all are like listening to me when you commute home from work or if you're listening to me in the evening. It's always so, I love being able to be part of your Sunday. Yeah, for the question of how was the hiatus era, it felt like it was never going to end. Like it was a very long time. Yeah, it was a struggle. Javine, I don't blame you at all. I would be like, I am in post concert recovery mode. Please respect my process. You must honestly be exhausted, Javine, but I hope you had like the best time. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. More in love than ever, not only with BTS, but with Army too. That's so great to hear. That's lovely. But yeah, seriously, I was exhausted after one concert. I can't even imagine all of and especially all of the traveling that you did. Like, wow. Yeah, I'm 5 feet tall, like literally like 5 feet exactly. So all of the members are so much taller than I am. It's actually really funny. When I went to Jin's concert, there was like this little photo op area where it had like a cutout almost of Jin, and everybody that I've shown that picture to, they've all asked me the same question. They've been like, is he actually that tall? And I'm like, I don't, because it's so much taller than I am, and I'm like, I don't know if he's actually that tall. Like, I don't know if this is to scale, but I'm just short. So everybody looks tall compared to me. Javine, we were actually talking about that earlier about the fact that one of the songs was We Are Bulletproof the Eternal. And let me tell you, same because they did We Are Bulletproof the Eternal as their encore song during my day of PTDLA. And I bawled. Like, I was sobbing. Like, I was taking videos of the concert, the PTDLA concert. And my video for that song is just like ruined because I'm literally sobbing. Oh, don't feed the bears. That sounds lovely, but yeah, very tiring. Javine, that's amazing. I am so happy for you. That is just wonderful. I hope that all of those experiences were good ones. I mentioned earlier that I know, especially with the stadium tours, or I should say the stadium concerts, I feel like there's always issues getting in, getting out, like also there's always something. So I hope that your experiences were as smooth as possible. That's definitely something that I think anybody who goes to either like a future Arang tour concert or like any other like show in the future, that's definitely something to remember is just like a lot of times those bigger venues are a struggle. I like that comment, Beeman Cook. PTDLA was a nightmare. Yes. Yes, it was. Can confirm that. I always tell this story to like anybody that I know who I'm, talking to about army stuff. When I left PTDLA, it was so chaotic that like nobody knew where to go. And the only reason why I was actually able to leave the venue was because, so like another, just because like I was solo traveling, I was just there by myself. And somebody just kind of, another army wandered up to me and she's like, "Hey, hi, I'm all by myself and I'm getting really nervous. Can I wait with you?" I'm like, "Of course you can." Turns out she was from Thailand. And then we happened to meet up with another army who was a bit older than us, and she was from Scotland. And like by some miracle, we managed to flag down a taxi. And that is the only we just by sheer happenstance, both of our hotels happened to be like right across the street from each other, so we were able to take a taxi back to our hotels. It was so random. But yeah, PTDLA, holy moly. Yeah, don't feed the bears. I have been so worried about not only them, but Army, especially with the heat that's been going on. I know Europe was in an intense heat wave, so like, I really have been hoping that everybody is staying hydrated and staying safe. AK, leaving, yeah, leaving is a lot with these venues. I was so lucky with Jin's concert that I was literally staying in a hotel that was right across the street from the venue because, oh my goodness. Oh, and asking how old I am. I'm a 95 liner like Tay and Jimin. So my birthday's in August, so I turned 31 in August. Lindsay, I bet. Yeah, the post-concert depression is hard. Coming back down to earth is really hard. Yeah. Uber's over like $100. Yeah. Yeah, something happened to me in PTDLA as well. So with PTDLA, I had taken a charter bus service called Rally, which is basically like ride share for buses. And I'm sorry to say, because I love the concept, but every experience I've had with Rally has been awful. And so I was able to take the bus over to PTDLA, but then I couldn't find it to get back. And like I was in text communication with somebody else who was on the bus, and they had even like given me a street address to try and find, and like I could not find this. And so that's why I ended up taking the taxi, because I literally walked around in like a big circle like for probably an hour and couldn't find anything, and nobody was helpful. Like I literally like flagged down like some of the police that were there, and even they didn't know. They're like, "We have no idea where that is." And I'm just like, "Well, that's great." Like and I know a lot of other people who were there said that they ended up having to walk to like a nearby, like there was a Target, like a Target super center, and getting their Ubers from there like several hours later. Leaving concerts is so chaotic. Yeah, Jimmy, definitely chaotic. Yeah. Um, Something that PTDLA taught me is to try and stay as close to the venue as possible. Because when I, traveled to Los Angeles, I thought, oh, let me stay near the airport. That makes sense. But it actually is so much better to stay near the venue. And like obviously different venues have, different accessibility. The bigger the venue, obviously the bigger the space around the venue, so you can't always stay super close. But if you can stay close, I always highly recommend it. Yeah, that's true too. Like the public transportation is always, very, very dicey. It's kind of like Ubers or nothing really, and especially with how busy it is, the I forget who said it, but the Uber price tends to rise really, really high, and it's can be very difficult. I literally leaving PTDLA, there were no Ubers, there were just none, and a lot of the taxi services that you tried to call were just like, yeah, we're not going out that way. I don't even know how I managed to find that taxi with the other two army that I was with. It was just kind of miraculous. Yeah, we were just talking about the FIFA halftime show a little bit earlier. I was glad that my live wasn't going to overlap with their performance. That was I was worried about that. So, but I'm looking forward to that happening later. And hello to anybody who just joined us. Thank you so much for being here. Hope you've been having a great day so far. Thank you for spending a little bit of your Sunday with me and my awesome community. This is just a casual chatting live stream. So we're just kind of talking about a little bit of everything, talking about the world tour, talking about BTS stuff in general. Yeah, just very casual. That is a great question of how to watch the performance. I've just kind of been assuming that it's probably going to be on YouTube somewhere, but I'm honestly not 100% sure. That's a question I've really been wondering too, like Cozy Corner, about pre-order pickup. I actually just, like, while the live was starting, set up my pre-order pickup for Arlington because I didn't do it for Tampa because I very, very foolishly thought that I could just get merch at Tampa. And everything was sold out in, like, other than like very like odd items here and there. And like, again, like I said, I'm pretty small, so it's already kind of a struggle that most of the tour shirts start at a medium, but like anything more than a medium would literally, I would not be able to wear it because I'm 5 feet tall. So I did my best to get some merch in the pre-order, and I'm curious how the pickup will be. I've heard from other people that the pickups at the concerts have actually been pretty good. Yeah, Lindsay, I was kind of wondering that myself. I was thinking that probably I'm sure that FIFA has like an official channel that they'll probably be doing stuff on. Yeah, Azarella, I was literally on for Arlington like right at noon when the pre-order opened, and literally just within the couple of minutes that it took me, things were selling out already. I'm just like, how am I even supposed to function? Oh, Metaloop. Yeah, that's awesome too. That a lot of it will be shown live, including the halftime anyway. So that's really good to know as well. Javine, the prices are more than double at the pop up. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. I've never been to one of the pop ups because they've always been in like cities and things that I'm not in. But yowza, that's crazy. Yikes. Lindsay, right? BTS being an army has definitely made me like watch a lot of things that I never would have watched otherwise. Yeah, so talking about the normal video, we had mentioned the normal video a bit before as well. So um, any of you who maybe just wandered in a little bit later, I'm so curious to hear your thoughts on everything we were talking about. That there's just like a ton of symbolism, a ton of references to previous work. So yeah, I'm really curious. Did I do the merch line in Tampa? I tried to do the merch line in Tampa. I didn't. So I went the first day concert wise and was just kind of like focused on just getting into the venue more than anything. So then I went back the next day because I didn't have a concert. We were getting ready to leave that day. And we're like, oh, let's just go over. We'll see what they have. Literally, even that early in the day, stuff was already sold out. It was insane. I was like, okay, I guess I'm not getting merch. It's okay. AK, yeah, no, I get that, and the merch is pretty up there in price. I personally I don't super love a lot of the merch designs anyway. I still want to have them as like keepsakes, but It has been really, really hard to get stuff. I'm actually kind of shocked. I mean, I know that sounds silly because like obviously I know that BTS is popular and there's a lot of us, but it's been a very different merch buying experience than like any that I've had at previous concerts. So it's like, wow, okay. And those keychains are really cute, Javine. I like those too. Um, and I know like with the new army bombs that have come out and stuff, I know that there's, been a lot of demand for those as well. So that's been really crazy. In fact, I'm kind of curious. I want to see if anything else is sold out for the Arlington pickup. Let's look. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Okay, like a lot of stuff is sold out for the Arlington pickup. Oh my gosh. Okay, so like most of the shirts, most of the jackets. Holy moly. Okay. There's still like a couple of things. Let's see Baltimore because I know Baltimore also went on sale. Yeah, a ton of stuff sold out there too. Wow. It's so weird how that can just change from like concert experience to concert experience. That's crazy. Yeah, I usually try in terms of merch. So I like to get t-shirts as keepsakes. And I'm going to the concerts with my parents. And they very much wanted shirts as keepsakes. So I definitely made sure to at least make them have some merch because they were really excited by that. So that's what I ended up getting was a shirt that my dad wanted one, my mom wanted one. So I got them theirs. Um, and then a lot of times I actually tend to buy stuff on like Etsy and things like that. So I figure that's probably what I'll do. I might still try and get the baseball cap, just I don't usually wear hats, but it might be a nice thing to have, especially in the sun. So I might try and get that. Yeah, I would keep my eyes peeled on that for Boston because I've been keeping my eyes peeled to kind of see Arlington's merch, and the announcement was literally just yesterday. I am surprised though that I mean I'm assuming that they're gonna do it for every single location because it makes sense. I mean, I'm assuming that they will. Usually I only wear my merch for the concerts. Especially because a lot of times it tends to be too big. One of the things that I did get for PTDLA was I got a sweatshirt that I have worn. Because it's really cool. It's a really nice sweatshirt. So I've worn that a couple times in just day to day life, but it's also really big. Lindsay, yeah, I'm very much a physical media person as well. Like I always want to have like a physical copy of a DVD and things like that. Um, excuse me. Especially because a lot of times I find Weavers just isn't reliable. Like Weavers definitely has functionality issues, and it's very difficult to try and work with. So it's like I'd always rather just pop in a DVD. Yeah, the sizing on the clothes is so strange. It literally goes from like if you're short like me, it goes from way too big to way too small, and it's just like I don't know. I'm actually not even sure what sizes I got in the shirts that I ordered because it was like obviously they had medium, large, extra large, sizes like that, but they also had numbers attached to them and I'm like I have no idea what the numbers are. So I have no clue what I even ordered, man. Uh Yeah, especially because on Weavers, the subs that we're paying for are bad. Like, and I know that we don't really pay a lot for the Weavers membership, but it's bad and I don't like it. Um, and yes, Azarella, you were completely correct that we can't wear a lot of the merch here in Florida, like my sweatshirt, for instance. Right? The digital membership is like less that you have to be able to spend on merch. Exactly. I usually just let the digital membership auto renew because it's fine, it is what it is, but yeah, it's the live subtitles just give me a headache. And hello to anybody else who just joined. Welcome. Yeah, yeah, I miss that too. It was always nice to have like those little explanations, like Bangtang Subs, is like one of the best channels for that, and it was always nice that they would kind of add that extra little context. Yeah, that's a really good question. I noticed that for a couple of the European concerts, they didn't really do any lives afterwards, which I mean, I can totally get because I know after their concerts they're exhausted. But I'm very curious when the next one will be. Maybe today after FIFA. I don't know because I don't know time differences, and again, they're probably exhausted. But it would be nice to get another live. I know, right? Don't feed the bears. I always find that really endearing. I loved the one that they did where it was Jin, Namjoon, the 95 line, and then JK wandered in where they were just eating and talking about like the most random things you've ever heard in your life. It's so funny. I don't even remember some of what they were talking about. Oh, like they were talking about like the trolley problem for a while. That was hilarious. Like I think at one point they were just talking about like space or something. It was so random. That's true too, Javine. I know they were doing a lot of sightseeing in Europe, so I'm glad that they were able to get the opportunity to do that as well. Yeah, Lindsay, I know that I was just talking about this with my mom recently because she saw something where it sounds like they might be starting to do that. It's very, I think it would probably be a good idea to do something that helps curate some of the live stream comments a little bit. Um, and like I'm not a huge fan of AI being inserted into everything. I think a lot of times AI tools are like more of a hindrance than they are a help. But I feel like there almost has to be a way that they can make an AI tool that can help with some of this, some of the comments. I don't know. I have no idea. Oh, thank you. Don't feed the bears. Yeah, um it's a lot sometimes to do solo travel, but it's worth it, especially for BTS. Going to see them in PTDLA was like one of my first big solo travel things because I've gone back to my hometown to visit friends and stuff, but that's a lot easier. It's familiar. You're meeting up with friends, whereas like PTDLA, I was like totally by myself. That was a lot, but that's a great question, Metaloop. I've thought about that a lot. How many more dates and new places do you think they'll add for 2027? I am so curious about that. And I'm very curious, like, we kind of were talking about this back around when our rank came out, even technically before our rank came out, where, I know I was kind of theorizing, especially that maybe there'll even be like another like shorter album or something at that point that they'll add in. Yeah, don't feed the bears. I am not an AI fan myself. I feel like every company wants to use it. Even, if you go on Weverse now, they even have AI tools. And I'm like, hey, if you want to use your AI tools for good, like, then maybe actually do something like that. Yeah, I think I know that the boys all have been really, really eager to go to like India and Pakistan and a lot of those places. So I think that you all will get your turn. I hope so. Because like I said, I know that they really want to do it, and I know they have a lot of fans in those countries. So I really hope you guys get your turn. Good question, Lindsay. Do I think they might come back to Florida? That would honestly be awesome. I would love that. But I'm not sure. I know the Tampa concerts did really really well, which I'm really happy about. And I mean they have a really good something that I think is really interesting about this tour is they did like a really good distribution through the United States. You know, they hit like a lot of good locations. So I don't know if they'll try and hit like I don't actually even know if they'll come back to the States when they do the 2027 stuff because they might, be like, we hit, enough good spots in the States, let's hit elsewhere. But I am curious if they do come back to the United States, where else would they be going? Yeah, and I think that Florida, I know Tampa did, like Jin was really happy with Tampa, and I'm glad that the boys were too. I know they even added an extra day to the Tampa tour. It was supposed to be two, and they added that third one in. So that's, that's always exciting because it shows that they did really well. Yeah, that is a very good point too. They can definitely sell the ticket prices for a little bit higher here. Um and obviously, there's a lot of demand for them. I mean, ticket buying was crazy for the Arang tour. So, there's definitely a lot of demand. But yeah, I can definitely, and that I think focusing on Asia makes a lot of sense too. I think there's a lot of different stops they can hit in Asia. Also, I apologize if you hear any background noise. Sounds like a storm might be blowing in, so if you hear any thunder, it's just what's going on. Oh, Metaloop. Yeah, that would be really cool too. South Africa. Lindsay, yeah, I've been speculating for a while. I almost feel like I've been thinking about kind of when they did the Love Yourself tour, and then they released Map of the Soul Persona. So they did the Love Yourself, Speak Yourself extension, and it was the Love Yourself tour plus some of the songs off of Mott's Persona. So I've almost kind of wondered if they'll do something similar with like the 2027 extension. I don't know, but I think it'd be cool. I agree. Every army should. I would love every army to be able to experience a concert at least once. AK, yeah, the stuff going on in Chile, that was really crazy. From what I heard, it sounded like the decision was reversed. But yeah, I saw that the concerts they're basically saying that the concerts were canceled because they didn't want to, the powers that be there didn't want them to use that particular stadium. But then I know Army, really protested that, so I'm not sure. And hello to anybody who just joined us recently. Thank you for being here today. I hope you all are doing well. Thank you for hanging out with us. Javine, yeah, I hope so too. I can't even imagine getting tickets for a BTS concert and then having something like that happen when it's literally nothing you did. It's literally not your fault. And just like for such a crazy reason. Like I feel so bad for them. I can't even imagine. That's always a great question. What song was everybody hoping for their surprise song? We mentioned that a bit briefly before as well. Oh, Cypher Part 4? That would be amazing. How was the our first concert experiences? That's a great question. So, like I was saying before, my first BTS concert was PTDLA. I went the first day. It was amazing. It was especially because it was during a kind of hard, difficult time in my life. So it was a really emotional experience for me. And it was chaotic. It was chaotic getting there. It was chaotic getting back from there, but it was still like one of the best days of my life. It was amazing. Yeah, it's something that has to be experienced to like fully be understood. It's amazing. Oh, Butterfly, that would be a good one. Lights. Oh, Lights would be such a good one. I love that one. Like I said earlier, I'm kind of hoping for On personally, just out of just the sheer the sheer fact that I love On. It's my favorite BTS song ever. So, On or Black Swan, I am manifesting. Yes, we did get some amazing songs. I was saying after Tampa they did on day 2 they did Pied Piper, and it was so funny because one of my videos on the channel is analyzing Pied Piper, and after BTS did that as their surprise song in Tampa, my analysis video gained like 600 views overnight, which is, I know that doesn't sound like a lot for most channels, but for me that's a lot, and it was literally because of Tampa and them doing it as the surprise song. It was so funny. Oh, Born Singer would be perfect. That would be such a good one for the surprise songs. Tampa Day 1, which is when I went, got Permission to Dance and Magic Shop, and doing Magic Shop with them was amazing. That was such a cool experience. Yeah, no, I totally get that. Don't feed the bears. Keep me in your good thoughts, because in Arlington I have floor seats, which I'm really excited about, but I'm also really nervous about being in that, that many people, like that much of a crazy area. So keep your fingers crossed for me. So from Jin's solo music, which one do I like the best? So my favorite of, technically, like, this is, I still kind of count this even though it's not on his albums. My favorite Jin song is The Astronaut. Um and then I would say, if we're going based on just like what's on the albums, probably I'll Be There, but I'm also a big fan of Background off of Echo. Yeah, Astronaut, I'll Be There. But yeah, if we're going BTS, his solos on BTS, how can you beat Epiphany? How can you beat, the one that taught us all to love ourselves? The problem with Jin's solo songs is I love all of them so much. Like, if you made me pick between Awake, Epiphany, and Moon, I would literally cry. But then the Astronaut means so much to me personally. The Astronaut really speaks to me. Rope It, heck yeah. I remember I saw Jin in Dallas, so Rope It was really popular. Yes, though, yeah, Epiphany, hearing Epiphany live is something I never thought I would get to experience. So getting to hear that on his tour was incredible. Exactly. How can you choose one? It's so hard to just choose one. But yeah, the Astronaut means so much to me personally that I always come back to the Astronaut. The Astronaut makes me cry literally every single time I hear it. And I've heard it a lot, and it still makes me cry. I get that, Javine, because it is very different stylistically from a lot of his other songs, especially the songs on his albums, because his albums have like a very rock focus, so the Astronaut is definitely different style wise, but yeah, the Astronaut means a lot to me on a personal level. That's a good question. So for Jimin's solos, if we're just going based on like his solo work, like not within BTS, but his solo albums, I was actually a big fan of Set Me Free Part 2. I enjoyed that one. It was very different, it was different in a good way. And just yeah, I enjoyed that one. But yeah, I was gonna say if we're going BTS stuff, I mean Serendipity is just like a classic. I'm also a huge fan of Lie. I love Wings. Something that my regular viewers and regular community knows about me is I love the Wings album, and so yeah, I'm a huge fan of Lie. Yeah, there's just something about Set Me Free Part 2. It's so like it goes so hard, it has like so much power behind it. I could definitely see it being like an OT7 song cuz it's just like it goes so hard, man. I love it. Yeah, Lie's a huge favorite of mine. I love all of the emotion that went into Lie. I love there's a lot of things like about imposter syndrome and things like that. Promise, yeah, Promise is amazing. I love Promise. It feels like a warm hug. Oh gosh, trying to pick an August D song is so impossible. Oh man, I if I had to choose, I would probably say Amygdala for any of Yoongi out of any of Yoongi's August D songs. Amygdala is incredible. Dear My Friend, Dear My Friend is so good. I'm a huge fan of D2, Yoongi's album D2, and I literally think every song on that is just like a flawless masterpiece. But yeah, Amygdala hits really hard. I love that one. Right? We cannot forget how iconic Auguste is. I'm a huge fan of Yoongi's Auguste work. And it's actually kind of funny, ironically, just the ones that we've been talking about here in the chat. I did a series of videos for when the BTS members got out of the military, and I talked about the astronaut for Jin, so keeping with my picks there. And for the all of our machinates, I talked about their work on BTS's solo albums. So like for instance, I talk about Lie. And then I did a video about the evolution of Auguste for when Yoongi got out. So just looking at how iconic his work is and how it can, kind of evolved and continued to be so iconic. Yeah, good question. So what about V's songs? Oh, that's such a good question. I'm probably slow dancing. I always love that too. Like we all have like very diverse tastes too, which is so fun. It's really interesting. We all come from like such different backgrounds. We come from different music that resonates for us, different things that resonate for us. Yeah, I think that's something that I love about Jungi's August D work is you can tell that there was like it like you said, it has that healing element. You can just tell that everything that he was feeling and experiencing, he put that in his music, and it really, really shows. And I know how much the fact that he very unflinchingly talks about things like mental health, and his struggles with that, and all of those things, it first of all is really, really brave, and second of all is really, really important, and you can see how much it impacted him, how much it's impacted other people. It's incredible. Yeah, I was never a huge concert person before BTS. So I get it. My band that I liked before BTS was Celtic Thunder, and they happened to come to my hometown a couple of times. So I saw them in concert a few times in my hometown. But then with BTS, they were like the first, real like band or concert that I was really like, okay, I want to travel and see these guys. Like, so for me, my favorite Namjoon song will always be Moonchild. And that's another song that's very deeply impactful for me. Moonchild quite literally changed my perception of myself, and changed how I view myself. And so that will always, Mono in general will always be super important to me, but especially Moonchild. Tokyo, yes. I love Mono. Mono is like a timeless album for me. I always listen to it. Forever Rain. Oh, yes. And in terms of ones on the albums, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Inch Persona. I'm a huge fan of Reflection, but yeah, Moonchild will always be the top. I get that. I get it. Mono is very sad. Like it's very, you definitely do have to be in a mood to listen to Mono. I totally get that. I find Mono very comforting personally because I am a bit of a melancholy person. So I know that might sound a little strange because I tend to kind of conduct very like upbeat live streams, but I definitely do have a melancholy side. So Mono really speaks to me. I saw somebody online once say that mono feels like somebody sitting down with you and putting an arm around your shoulder and saying like I can't make it better but I can be here for you. And I think that's the best description that I've ever heard. And that's definitely something that I love about mono is it definitely just feels like somebody going, I get it, I understand, let's feel together. And I really love that. Yeah, I'm very curious too, Lindsay, of like what we'll get in future. It's, there's so many different directions that I think things can go into, so that'll be really interesting to see. And kind of like we were saying, like will we get another, album or anything? Very interesting. Favorite album for me is definitely Map of the Soul 7. Map of the Soul 7 came out literally like a week after I became Army. Like I became Army on Valentine's Day of 2020. I was working on a project that I wanted to have done for Valentine's Day, and I kind of knew of BTS already a little bit. I'd heard Mic Drop, I'd seen the Mic Drop dance practice, I'd seen some funny videos. But then the thing that really cemented me was after my project was done, I was like, I'm going to reward myself. I'm going to watch some BTS content. And I happened to watch Namjoon's speech at the UN. And it cemented me as an army. And so Valentine's Day, I always say, is like my official army anniversary. And then a week later, Map of the Soul 7 came out. And so I got to experience Map of the Soul 7 as a new army who was like already getting into BTS's stuff, but just like got super sucked in because of I just love Mot 7. And then I'm a huge fan of Wings as well, like I said. Lindsay, wow, yeah, that's incredible. Love Yourself, absolutely. Love Yourself is amazing. Ooh, which song of BTS have I been listening to recently? I like On Pond Man is a good one. What was the most recent BTS song that I just was listening to? Probably Idol. Probably Idol. Army Since Danger Era. That's so cool. Yeah, I wish that I had become Army sooner. I know they always say you find BTS when you need them. So I think that's definitely true for me, but I do regret not having been there longer. BTS's self-love message is really, really important to me. So I totally agree with all the people who are hyping up the Love Yourself era. And like I said, since my most recent song was Idol, of course you can't stop me loving myself. I Namjoon once said that Map of the Soul 7 basically contains everything you need to know about BTS, and I feel like that's very true. Also, in regards to the question of what time their performance will take place, I'm actually not sure what time the halftime is going to be for FIFA. So I'm not sure if anybody else in the chat knows like what time, and then you can figure out time zone wise. But yeah, I'm actually not sure when it starts. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. Can I do the choreos? I am very uncoordinated, so no. I sometimes will like use their dance practices as a way to sort of like do like cardio exercise. Um so I like mic drop, Boy with Love, some of those I'll kind of try and do like some of the moves as like a workout, but I do that alone where no one can see me because I'm sure it looks like a hot mess because I am not coordinated. Don't Feed the Bears. Yes, for J Hope, Daydream and Neuron, good ones. What is probably I love Piece of Peace for J Hope. I know we're going back to Hope World, but yeah, I'm a big fan of Piece of Peace. I love it though. I love Army learning the choreography. That's always so fun. Lindsay's asking, what do you think about the narrative that this is BTS's last tour? Interesting. I don't know because like we've been having conversations a lot, in past live streams and even today about like how they change their style. And so like I don't I know the boys have said that they want to perform for years and years and years. And so obviously I think some of their performance style will change. So in some respects it might be the last tour where we see things looking like this, but I hope it's not their last tour, even if things change a little bit. Because they've repeatedly expressed that they just want to keep performing. So that's true too. Don't Feed the Bears. A lot of like K-pop groups that came before them are still touring and things like that. So 'Okay, awesome. Thank you for answering that question about what time the halftime show is gonna be starting. I really appreciate that. 32 more years. I love the specificity of that. Gosh, 32, 32 years from now, I'm going to be in my 60s. Yeah, it's really interesting to hear everybody's kind of different opinions for, those of us who have been around a little bit longer. And then obviously there's people here who have been Army even longer than I have. So it's kind of really interesting to hear everybody's diversity of opinions. So just to let you all know, I will probably still be on live for about another 20 minutes or so. So if there's anything else that you wanted to discuss, anything else you wanted to ask me, please feel free. And then I'll be probably signing off in about 20 minutes. Yeah, AK, you're so right. I honestly felt the same way, especially having become Army during the pandemic. It really felt like I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to see BTS, am I? And now I've gotten to see OT7 twice, and with a third time coming up, and got to see Jin twice. So that's really exciting. Yeah, Metaloop, I definitely think they seem to be moving out of like the more structured style. What is my next video about? So that's a good question. I actually have a couple that I've been like kind of working on and considering. So I'm not sure, I'm very scatterbrained sometimes. So it just depends on like which one comes together more quickly than the others. One that I have been talking about a lot that I want to do is going to be another theme video, very similar to like I did the liminal space theme video a little while ago. This is a very grim sounding topic, but I think it'll be interesting. I want to do some analysis about how often in BTS's music videos they use the theme of either like an apocalypse or a dystopia. So the apocalypse theme came to me because of Jin's music video for the song Running Wild, which takes place like the end of the world basically happens in that video, but it's so and like it seems like that would be so weird for an album called Happy, right? But I think what he does with that concept is really really interesting, and it made me think about a lot of other times in BTS's videos where they seem to be dealing with like the end of the world or like a really run down world, like for instance Spring Day or On have very like dystopian vibes. So I would definitely love to talk about that because I think that would be a lot of fun. And I would love to explore some of the other like music videos. One of a pet project of mine that I really want to talk about is I really want to talk about the video for Boy with Love, because I always feel like Boy with Love gets a little bit pushed aside because it's so pink and poppy and all of that stuff, but there's a lot of depth in Boy with Love, so that's something I'd like to talk about. So a lot of ideas, but hopefully one of those will be coalescing soon. Javine's asking, when will we read a book again together? So I'm thinking that next book club will probably be September. And that I'm just going to pop up to housekeeping again real quick. The next book club book is going to be Map of Soul 7, Persona, Shadow, and Ego in the World of BTS. I know that's what we decided after The Little Prince. Like I said, that'll probably be in September if I had to guess. Yeah, I'm agreeing with the chat in regard to Lindsay's question of like next move if we could have them do anything. I would love to see like a Bon Voyager in the soup or anything. Um, and even if they do need to take a little bit of a break after how big this tour is. But yeah, I those are always my favorite types of content as well. I'm actually a little bit surprised. I actually thought that they might do a Bon Voyage when they got out, or like even like an In the Soup style thing when they got out of the military, because I thought they might want that time to kind of connect with each other. But then, of course, they jumped right into album production, so they didn't really have time. But that's an interesting question too, Azarella, of just like maybe it's like a tour documentary or something. That'd be kind of interesting. That's a great question, Metaloop, about like, will we get solo projects? I'm sure we'll probably get other solo projects. I mean, like especially when the rappers used to release mixtapes and stuff, so I'm sure that we'll still get some kind of solo album, mixtape, song, whatever the case may be from the different members. Um, but, in terms of like, will we get solo tours? I don't know. That's a great question. I mean, I think it probably depends on, what like maybe they won't want to do another world tour again for a while, and so maybe then the members will have like the downtime for them to do their own things. Very interesting. Yeah, that's a great question about any websites to watch. We were actually talking about that a little bit earlier. I'm just assuming maybe YouTube. Ooh, Lindsay, that would be fun. A jazz tour for me, that would be really cool. Yeah, if I can find it, I'll definitely see what's up. We were speculating a little bit earlier about like what they might perform, Permission to Dance, Dynamite, so we were having a little bit of a speculation about what that might be like. But I'm very curious. A tour documentary would be really cool. Honestly, I would love that. Oh, the pregame show just started. Okay, cool. Good to know. That actually works out well since, like I said, I'll probably be on for like at this point probably like another 10-ish minutes, 10, 15-ish minutes or so. Then I can free I can free you all to go see what you can find. And hello to anybody who I haven't said hi to yet, who just kind of recently joined. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry that I'll be getting off stream in about 10-15 minutes, but anything that you missed, you can catch up on. This will go up on the channel afterwards, and I always love comments. So if you want to leave me any comments as you listen to the live stream, let me know. Yeah, AK, I think you're definitely right that it's like kind of go with the more, the best, arguably the best known BTS song, so it does make a lot of sense, I think. Don't feed the bears. Yeah, I imagine that was really intense. I'm lucky that my family aren't really sports people because I'm not a sports person either. So like, thank goodness I don't really have to deal with it very much. But Lindsay, thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad you were able to stop in. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Yeah, I've just never been a sports person, so I can just definitely not relate to like the sports energy. But as we said earlier, I forget who said it earlier, but BTS making us engage with a sports related related thing because we just don't see BTS. Yeah, I was initially thinking body to body myself, but then I saw some people saying that there have been hints posted on Twitter and things that were making them think either Permission to Dance or Dynamite. And I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Don't feed the bears. Oh my gosh, when I went to high school, I was like forced to go to pep rallies and it was awful. I remember a friend of mine and I literally sat in the bleachers of a pep rally with headphones on. Like she had like very large headphones and we just sat there like with our heads pressed together listening to each of us with one headphone ear on, and like that's me. That sums up me in sports. And yes, I did see that Billboard fan army thing. So yeah, that's a fun one to go and show our support, and it's always nice to be able to vote to support the members. You are right, Azarella, that they do have like the same passion and loyalty as Army. It is interesting. I think Boris City Magazine, who's another really like a great YouTube channel that I really love, a lot of her videos. She did a comparison of like sports and Army like fandoms, and it was a really interesting look because there is a lot of overlap, but then a lot of ways in which we differ. All right. Well, I apologize. I'm seeing a lot of new names in the chat, so I'm so sorry if you just joined, but I'm actually going to start wrapping things up. So I wanted to just go back to my housekeeping screen for anybody who maybe came in a little bit later. I am not sure on my next live stream dates, but I'll let you guys know. So keep your eyes peeled on the posts section, the community section of my channel. I'll let you know there when the next one is. It'll probably be sometime in August that I do my concert thoughts after I see them in Arlington, Texas, and then we'll be having book club again in September. So keep your eyes peeled on that. Don't be the bears. I love that. That's so funny. But yeah, so thank you all so much for being here today. Yes, best wishes for everything today. Thank you all so much for stopping by and spending part of your Sunday with me. And I hope to see you again in some of my upcoming live streams very soon. And I hope to see you just in general. Like I said, this stream is going up as a live that, or I should say as a video that you can watch even after it's no longer live. So please feel free to watch anything that you missed. Yes, that's right, Javine. But and I wish you a lot of recovery from your concerts, all of your concerts. But I'm so glad that you had a really good time. So thank you for coming and hanging out with me today. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Feel free to drop me any comments or anything when this goes back up on the channel. So yeah, I thank you all so much for being here and making it a really fun time. Have a nice rest of your day.